Yeah, when I first heard this low T thing, I had to look it up. Guys my age aren't really worried about that kind of thing, but I think people...
Conservatives are so obsessed with the culture war. That's all they really care about at the end of the day. Whether it's what gender is in this bathroom or is this pilot a man or not, it's absurd. And in no Senate race is this more apparent than in Texas, where James Talarico has been hit with these idiotic attacks from his opponent, Ken Paxton, going after his testosterone levels. Yeah, and James Talarico just humiliates him with this perfect response. Take a look.
I think people are really tired of this kind of professional wrestling in our politics. Yeah. These old guys who are lathered up in their fake tan, throwing these corny nicknames at each other. People are wanting serious leaders who are going to get this economy back on track, who are going to start to lower costs, who are going to start to raise pay. And people are catching on to the fact that these corny nicknames don't lower the cost of groceries, don't lower the cost of prescription drugs, don't lower the price of gas. And so people realize that we're being played by these politicians who want to throw these nicknames at each other, and they're ready for a serious senator who's going to bring both parties together to get this economy back on track.
Exactly. Talarico is popping off here because he is so right. There is this strange homoerotic obsession with men and their bodies in this administration, and yet they're also super homophobic at the same time. It's kind of insane. It's so insane, in fact, that Representative Becca Balint pointed it out right here. Take a look.
That there are so many people in this administration that have some weird, intense homoerotic feelings towards men, while also being incredibly homophobic, and not just homophobic, but hate mongering, fear mongering about the LGBTQ community. So let me be clear. I don't think the homoeroticism is the weird part. The weird part is that they pretend that that's not what it's about. And so Pete Hegseth is the example of this, the manly, rugged, macho man. And
I find this clip extremely funny because this is coming from a real representative. Because, I mean, she's 100% right? These guys are so obsessed with men and testosterone levels and, this masculine body energy that we need to have. And just take a look at this clip of J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan thirsting over Joe Biden. Seriously.
The thing I couldn't get over Biden is just bad staff work, man. The way that he ate ice cream. I mean, it's like, we could bring some of this stuff up, but it's like they would get him eating ice cream in the most ridiculous, suggestive way imaginable.
Suggestive? Suggestive. Okay, dude, what the fuck? That is wacky business right there. Looking at a 78-year-old married man eating ice cream and immediately going to suggestiveness is, it's a choice for sure. You might want to unpack that one later, JD. There might be some closeted emotions that you just haven't fully let out. I will admit, however, that Biden does look pretty badass in this one, though. I mean, the shades, the money in hand, the rolled up sleeves. This one I do get. But come on, bro. This is just embarrassing. The ice cream game wars have definitely been won by Joe Biden on this one. Anyway, moving on from the horny ice cream tangent, courtesy of J.D. Vance, by the way, on that same podcast with Joe Rogan actually admits to J.D. that he is a fan of some of what Talarico is talking about. Take a look.
One of the things, I had James Talarico on the podcast, and one of the things that I think he has a really good point about, even though I know you're Catholic and you're very religious, putting the 10 Commandments in schools, I don't think is the right way to do it. And this is a guy, Talarico, who was in seminary and is very Christian.
I feel as though Talarico's strategy here is just dynamite. And his strategy is be normal. Let the other side go apeshit and call you low T, Talarico, and all this weird stuff and scream about pronouns and gender and whatever else may be, while you hammer home your message of equality, workers' rights, and just better living conditions for the American people. And I think Ken Paxton is actually scared to get on a stage and debate with James Talarico because he will tear him apart. Right? And Talarico knows that he can tear him apart. Just look at this now iconic moment where on live television, Talarico challenges Ken Paxton to a debate. Take a look.
Ken Paxton's billionaire handlers don't let him answer questions in public. He hasn't appeared on a debate stage in more than a decade. He refuses to answer basic questions. like, why did you give an Epstein-style sweetheart deal to an admitted child predator, Adam Hoffman? How did you become a multimillionaire on a government salary? Did Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes, your top two billionaire mega donors, buy an acquittal in your impeachment trial? He won't answer, I think, those very relevant questions. He doesn't answer to the public because he's not a public servant. He is a puppet politician. And I want him to prove me wrong. As we just talked about, we have to be focused on forgiveness and redemption and second chances. And so that's why I am challenging Ken Paxton to 3 televised debates. I'll be on that debate stage because I answer to the people of Texas. Ken Paxton answers to his billionaire mega donors. We'll see if they let him show up.
James no pulling any punches Talarico is more like it. This guy is going for the throat and not letting up. And Ken Paxton must be sweating some serious bullets right now because, yeah, Talarico's right. Ken Paxton has no charisma. He's not a good public speaker. He's not well put together. He is a corporate shill through and through. And if given the chance, Talarico could rip his entire platform to shreds on a debate stage. And I, for one, would love to see it happen. And the people of Texas are on James Talarico's side. Just take a look at this rally that he held in South Texas, in a county that Trump won back in 2024. Just seeing the energy in that room, Texas is energized. The state is finally ready to have a Democratic senator, and I believe that James Talarico has the energy, has the momentum, has the drive, has the charisma to get us there. Talarico went on to give a very powerful speech at that same rally, where he proposed this very crucial and pretty progressive campaign position. Take a look.
We must overhaul the Supreme Court because we've seen corruption in the judicial branch. And we must finally pass a national ban to end gerrymandering once and for all in every state in the union. Once we transform this broken, corrupt system, then we can start unrigging this economy. We can start raising our pay, cutting our taxes, lowering our costs. We can finally start to get ahead. If we do that, if we bring people together to beat this system, then I am confident, I feel it in my bones, that we are going to win this election in November.
Overhauling the Supreme Court and banning gerrymandering are two, necessary policy positions at this point for any Democrat running. And here's James Talarico proudly putting them in his campaign platform. If you can't hit those markers, and this guy running in Texas can, you gotta go, right? You gotta go. But, just out of curiosity, I wanted to see what the good old Republicans were doing on the policy front position, and it's worse than I could have imagined.
So are Democrats going to come across the line and join some of you? And are they as clear-eyed on the mission?
I hope so. Americans work 5 days a week. The minimum we ought to work is 7 days a week. I'm a business guy.
Oh, okay, so that is Senator Rick Scott calling for Americans to work every single day. No weekends, no days off, just labor and labor and labor until you waste away and die. Great message, Republicans. I'm sure that'll go super well for you in the midterms. The conservative death cult is in full swing. The vice president is thirsting over Joe Biden, Donald Trump wants to overturn elections, and the MAGA movement just keeps hoorahing through it all, with their heads empty and their wallets completely ravaged by the very administration that claims to love them so dearly. It's so embarrassing. But with strong candidates like James Talarico in states where Trump has such a strong influence for such a long time, they're ready for a change, right? So many are turning away from the MAGA movement. So many are turning away from Donald Trump and the Republican Party at large and looking for candidates like Talarico, candidates that aren't speaking about culture war nonsense, but actually speaking about issues that people are facing every single day. And he is a true Texan who is ready to take his state to the batting grounds and fight it out. And he talks about that right here. Take a look.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I'm the 8th generation Texan in the race. As you mentioned, Ken Paxton was born in North Dakota. He was raised in California. And I think California transplants like Ken Paxton can become Texans. That's what's great about our state. Texas is a state of mind, as John Steinbeck wrote. And so I think what folks are hungry for is a senator who's going to serve all Texans, regardless of our political party, regardless of where we grew up, whether we've been here for 8 generations or whether we just got here, like Ken Paxton. And I think that's what we've got to focus on over the course of this campaign. People want a senator who's going to bring both parties together to lower our costs. And that's what I have a track record of doing. I've served.
We truly need more politicians like James Talarico. And now is the best time for progressives in forever, practically, right? We got Abdul Al-Sayed out in Michigan. We got Melat Kiros out in Denver. Zoran Mamdani out in New York. AOC in New York. The movement continues to grow. And Texas is up next. So if you want to see James Talarico in the Senate, be sure you subscribe to US Democratic Socialists. But I think that's going to do it for me. I'm Iago Lashua. Have a good day. Goodbye.